Houston, we've had a problem. We've had a main B plus undervolt. Roger, main B undervolt. Okay, stand by, 13. We're looking at it.
You got a fetish for my love. I push you out and you come right back. Don't see a point in blaming.
Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Talk Show Time. We are being pre-recorded. Reason being, I do not have proper internet right now. Until I can get that back, we are doing pre-recorded videos to upload to YouTube and to Rumble. So guys, today we are going to check out Valuetainment. They put out a video about, 6 days ago from this posting, 6-7 days ago. So we're going to check this out. It's called Marriage is Outdated, according to 40% of young adults surveyed. Let's check out what they got to say here. Right now, I gotta totally agree with them, at least for the Western world, because the marriage and divorce laws here are out of control. Divorce laws, child support laws. I am going through so much myself, so I can personally say yes, that's exactly, a lot of this is going to be true in my case. So guys, let's check this out. Let's bring up the screen. Alright guys, and let's get this full screen so we can have a good view. Guys, please follow Valuetainment. They put out a lot of good videos, just in general, not just for men, for women, for people in general. They are putting out a lot of valuable information, so check them out. Make sure you subscribe to them to YouTube. Let's see what they got to say in this video.
Marriage outdated. Marriage outdated. Adam, be ready. 2 in 5 young adults think
that picture is kind of selling the idea.
Yeah, exactly. With the Uma.
2 in 5 young adults think the tradition no longer matters. A survey reveals that 2 in 5 young adults consider marriage an outdated tradition, with 85% believing that a fulfilling and committed relationship doesn't require marriage. The sentiment is more prominent among women, 52%. Wow, 41% men. The survey reflects a broader trend, as 1 in 4 40-year-olds in the U.S. have never married. And 34% of people 15 and older have never been married. 15 and older. 15 and older, never been married. Okay. The rising cost of weddings is a major deterrent, and 73% of millennials and Gen Zers considering it too expensive. Young adults feel judged for not being married, especially by their mothers. 69% of women, 27% of men. Fear of divorce is also a significant factor, with 47% expressing concerns, and many couples lack plans for shared responsibilities like pets and children in case of a break.
Yeah, me, myself, I've been divorced twice. I'm going through a lot on child support right now, which is one of the reasons why I've been struggling for so many years. The New York State laws for child support are absolutely ridiculous. One of the few states versus the rest of the country where they require people to pay child support until the age of 21. Meanwhile, it's 18 years old in the large majority of the United States and other countries as well that do have child support. These laws are made to destroy not only men, but to destroy the nuclear family, to destroy the kind of unity that a family would have, and also to break down the men, because you may call it a conspiracy theory, but having a nuclear family, having a strong male person in charge of the house, in charge of that household, that honestly does bring more unity and more strength to the family. The kids don't grow up as fucked up, but with the advent of social media, it's a lot harder to prevent that. Honestly, I think social media has been put out there to basically destroy the next coming generations, to weaken our country, not only our country, but so many people in general and so many other countries, just so they can be controlled. I mean, honestly, how do you control people? By breaking down their mental, their emotional, breaking down the family unit, making women think, oh yeah, I don't need a man, I don't need to go out, get your money, make your money, you don't need a man for anything. But when you do need a man for something, who do you come calling? Absolutely. Let's continue to see what else they got to say.
So Adam, what do you think about this article here?
Well,
like, is marriage worth it? Is it not worth it? What are your thoughts on this? I mean,
let me just
not
say
worth
this.
it here
I
in the
think
States.
that at the end of the day, men and women are better together. I think we're here with PHP. I think you guys, how many of you guys are married couples working together?
There you go. There you go.
Literally everyone.
Exactly.
And I'm not pandering to the audience. I genuinely believe that. Respect.
But 90% of hands we just went up.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, I don't know what that was. But you might have saw that I was trending on social media, me and my ex.
Hold on. 90% of them, they say that they're married couples trying to make things work. That's the thing. There you go. If you have a strong family, traditional family, you don't see that much anymore. And when you do, a lot of times they end up failing divorce. 50% of marriages in the States end in divorce. When I posted the Owl in Asia video, 60% of marriages end in divorce in Canada. Obviously something's not right. Obviously something's going wrong. But yeah, let's continue. Let's see what else you got to say.
Ex-girlfriend Chelsea Handler had a
Yep.
bad breakup.
yeah, heartbreaking. I remember you were emotional about it.
I'm
She had
into
a-
that used up 50-year-old lady vibe. And I think there's two things going on here. I think number one, women have been fed a bowl of lies
There you
from
go.
modern day feminism, telling them that they don't need a man, go out, work, like make your money. Why need a man in your life? Just do it by yourself. And I think that's just an absolute shame, because I think that women, the number one role of a woman, whether it's,
Here we go.
here it is, I think, and I ask married women all the
Uh-oh.
time,
Get the shoes ready, lady.
Here we go.
ladies.
I don't care how much money you make, what you do for business, the best thing you've ever done is have children and raise great children, okay? I'm
That's
looking
right.
at many women right here.
Absolutely.
As amazing as Sheena is, and as amazing as Marlene is, whoever's out there, your kids are the best. Are they not? Okay, you would trade
Did you
everything you're
notice how
doing here.
quiet they were?
Well, yes.
Just recently, it's been summer, kids been
Yeah.
home. It's like, listen, my kids are not good. They're
Yeah.
not going to school right now.
No, I know, and
Parents feel it, if you got
But
the
it's-
kids at the house.
And I know, Matt,
But it's-
with your dozen kids, you know what I'm saying about this, brother. And then I think that women, when they enter this modern day mindset of feminism, men, when they make money, they look for dependence. Yo, I'm a man, I made my money, let me go find my girl, I'm gonna have a family. I'm gonna do my thing. A lot of women are like, I'm independent, I don't need my man. So it's sort of counterintuitive. Men are very fearful these days. Why? Because of the court systems.
you go.
98%
Told
of
you.
alimony are men paying women. So 98%, not 90, like these are very high numbers. So I do a show called Saucecast where finance meets romance, and I have these difficult conversations about prenups. Nice little plug there, you like that, Pat? And like you just saw the soccer player who hid his assets
His mom's.
in his mom's name, and the woman divorced him.
Yes.
And basically what happened
That was
was
the best.
she came after his assets. He's like, I ain't got no money,
you go.
baby. Like, I got nothing. The mom had it all. And ironically enough,
Smart.
she's a hot model. She makes $1 million a year. Now she's paying him alimony, allegedly.
That's beautiful.
There you go.
So I
That's
think,
beautiful.
yeah.
That is fucking amazing. If you didn't hear about that story, yeah, this guy, his wife divorced him, went after supposedly everything he had. The guy has nothing in his name. Everything, even his clothes, in his mother's name. The smartest guy in the world. But let's continue.
Come on, guys. We only win 2% of the
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
We have to
2%
celebrate.
of
You
the
don't
time.
realize the leaders bullet says
That's no joke.
says Erica Juarez, so that's beautiful. Because if we ever get divorced, Erica's gonna be paying me since I don't have anything. You know what I mean? My plaques say Erica
Yeah.
Juarez.
Well, he just got out of jail. Everything's in his mom's name. You know how
Yeah.
that thing works.
I'm good.
I think what society is lacking is genuine examples of what great relationships and marriages and families look like. That's why I love PBD and his family, because what an amazing situation. The only other person that I would constantly look at and be like, wow, that's the man, is Tom Brady. Super Bowl winning quarterback, GQ, stud, millionaire, this, that, the other, model wife, Giselle, hot, this, family, kids, and it's like, she leaves Tom Brady. And I say this all the time, it's like, Giselle, I know you're hot and all, but good luck finding another Tom Brady.
There you go. Yep.
So I think society, what's the Wall Street Journal article about crumbling values in America today? Religion, family values,
Exactly.
community service, marriage. Like, I think we're trending the wrong way, and I think that it's incumbent on men and women to understand what's happening in society today and not just be like, oh, Adam, you're an asshole, you're a chauvinist. No, I want to get married. I want to have a family. I want to have kids, but I also want to be aware of the pitfalls of what's going on today.
Yeah.
Misogyny. You're such a misogynist. That is exactly what they're. These women are being taught. That this is all misogynist. The patriarchy. Men are in control of everything. Sweethearts, men built the world. We built the buildings. We built most of the cars. I know there's women out there in the car factories now. I understand that. There's a lot of factory work that women are getting in there, but a large majority is all men. Construction, I would say 99.99% of the jobs are out there are men. Oh, but there's a wage gap. Hold on. Before anybody says anything about the wage gap, which is bullshit, I'm going to tell you why. First of all, you're talking about a very small majority of men who make the kind of money that women are talking about. For the most part, in the middle areas of employment, men and women mostly make around the same amount. Okay. They talk about, oh, but men have more jobs than this. Yes, we do. Because there's no way in hell a woman is going to go out and do construction, especially in New York. You go out to any new construction site in New York. Do you see any women out there? I, for one, have never seen one. And I'm not trying to be chauvinist. I'm not trying to be misogynist. I am stating plain facts, guys. Plain facts. And witness. I've never seen a woman out in a New York City construction site. Never. If you were offered $100,000 on a construction job, being a woman, I guarantee you they would not take it. Guarantee you. Very, very tiny percentage. If they can handle it, they were like bigger than me, bigger than the average man. Yeah, there are women like that out there. Honestly, there are. I'm not saying they're not. And there are women out there who will be more of a man than me and myself put me and my brother puts together. You know, it's honestly that there are women like that, and that's okay. That's how some women are. But it's very rare that they'll go out and do those kind of jobs, if any. So before anybody says anything about a wage gap or how men make more money, well, you want equality? Go get a construction job. Go out on the oil rigs. See what happens there.
Yeah. Well, it's like reading this article. I mean, it's very, to me, it's very sad. Number one, because it's just like you said, it's a clear sign of like societal decay that we would even be in this situation. Look, the objective reality is that marriage is the best situation for children. And that
Yes.
should be our priority. What's best for the children? And there's something so perverse about our current culture where there's so much focus on kind of like the individual. This is one of the things that drives me crazy about always celebrating people who come out as trans. And they're like, oh, this is wonderful. You're being who you are. You know, you were always a woman and you have to live as you feel. And like, no one ever seems to go like, hey, what about the kids?
And what about
Yeah.
your
Is
penis?
this not
Exactly.
difficult? Well, yeah, turns out you don't have to do anything
Yeah.
to that now. But it's just like there doesn't seem to be concern about.
Yeah, little plug in there. The reason why he says you don't have to do anything with that today, because if you go look at the public school system, especially in New York, all over the country, they are pushing the agenda, the rainbow agenda, I'll call it. And you have no control over that, because you have no control over what the public school does to indoctrinate your children. And it's very unfortunate.
About this, and that, by the way, that's how society continues, is through children. And just to your point, Adam, I mean, look, I would say I don't think it's just like a thing for women. I mean, I love my career. I really love it. I have my dream job. I love doing stand-up comedy. I love doing cool shows like this. I love it. I make a very good living, you know, not compared to some people, but compared to the general population, I do very well. And I have a career that I'm passionate about, that I love. That's pretty rare. There's a small percentage of society who has that. And still, if you were to ask me, what's the most meaningful or important thing in my life? It's not like career is number two. It's such a distant number two. Like, the older you get, the more you realize all that really matters is family. That's all that matters. And I think it's very
Absolutely.
easy, particularly for
Absolutely.
women, just because they do have more of a biological clock, just that's the reality, than men. It's very it's very easy when you're 25 to be like, I don't really care about any of that. I'm having fun, I'm doing my thing. And then it's very easy to do that up until you're 35. And by the time you're 35, you're up against it. You're in a high-risk pregnancy if you get pregnant at 35, no matter
Geriatric
what it is.
pregnancy.
Geriatric
There's-
pregnancy, yes.
Increase the risks of something going wrong. On top of that, if you're 35 and single and you want to have kids, you better find the guy like immediately.
Ladies,
you don't
I'm
have
single
much
out
of
there.
a
If you're
window.
out there, where we at?
And
Okay, let me stop right there. If anybody doesn't know, there's something called the wall. You know, once you hit 35, yeah. We've been taught, to go back on what they were talking about before, we have been taught, or actually ladies been taught, we don't need a man. Let's go out, go through your whole phase. You'll see that on TikTok. Go out, have fun, get your career, go to college. Listen, there's nothing wrong with going to college. There's nothing wrong with going to get a career. But having a family and having kids needs to come first. Job and career, secondary. Honestly. And I'm going to go by what Bo from Legion of Men, he always says, for men, work hard in your 20s, play in your 30s. Build yourself up. Okay? Build yourself up. Be financially independent. Go see the world once you have your shit in order, because the first 10 years of those 20s, honestly, there's no fucking way you're going to make $500,000 a year. There's no way. Like these chicks are demanding. Okay? There is no fucking way. It's delusional thinking. Work hard in your 20s. Play in your 30s. Or get your life together. That's when you start finding a wife, between 30, 35. And the ideal thing for that kind of man to look for is somebody younger, in their early 20s, someone who's more fertile. Let's talk scientific here. Someone who's more fertile, okay? Someone who's younger, more beautiful than some 35-year-old, 40-year-old, 50 years old, 50 years old. These hags going on TikTok. Oh, I don't need a man. I don't need you. Well, buy a cat and die alone. You look horrible. No man's going to want you. It's going to be very hard for a 35-year-old woman. And if you're a single mother, honestly, those guys who hook up with the single moms, I always say, do not do it. At least here in the West. In the Philippines, it's a little bit of a different story. It depends on the woman. She could still be great. But in all honesty, if you decide to marry somebody who has a kid already, even out in the Philippines, there are risks. Like if you try to discipline the kid, there could be definite problems because it's not your kid. That kid is going to be number one in her life. You're going to be number two. It's understandable. And I understand that. That's an understanding that you have to realize if you deal with someone who's a single mom. Here in the States, don't even consider it. If you end up marrying that person, if they have 1, 2, 3 kids, you become a stepdad, you end up putting yourself in a situation even worse, because if you try to discipline those kids, she ain't having it. That's going to be a problem. That's going to undermine your position as the man of the house. Number 2, if there's a divorce and that person has those kids, the single mother leaves, not only are you liable for child support for those kids because you married, alimony, and you lose out on those kids if and when you grow to love them and nurture them. That's ripped away from you. Absolutely ripped away. So that's even more emotional and mental trauma you have to go through. And I do not recommend it ever here in the States. In the Philippines, there's no divorce. That's a good thing and a bad thing. In the Philippines, they believe strongly in the family unit. This is why I encourage men to go out in the world, get their passports, travel around, see how the rest of the world is. Do not just go by what you see here in the States. Do not just sit there and see what you see in social media. Trust me, guys, I'm telling you this from the bottom of my heart. And I tell you, women, I am not saying all this to put any of you down. This is an honest to God fact. Okay? But some of you women might be saying, oh, but what if he was an asshole? What if he was a cheater? There are those situations, obviously, if there was domestic abuse. Yeah, I totally get that. That's a whole different story. But even in that situation, it's going to be harder for you as a woman because you're going to be carrying that trauma for the rest of your life. That's going to be a hard thing to deal with. And I'm not saying that as a knockdown or anything like that. It's a fact. It's a reality. Yeah. So each situation, it's going to be different. But for the most part, don't even deal with single moms. Forget about it. Guys, don't even do it. Get your passports. Go to the Southeast Asia. Go to the South America. A lot of guys are going to South America. I don't know about South America personally. It's not my thing. That's more, I think, for just guys just want to date outside the country. they could do that in the Philippines and Southeast Asia as well. But honestly, Philippines, Southeast Asia, they're definitely more family oriented. A lot of places in South America too, but I believe South America is a lot more influenced by social media and by modern day feminism.
And I think there's kind of this I remember being young, like being really young and feeling like 40 was really old. You remember like that feeling of like what 40 felt like when you were 20,
28,
and you were like,
I've been 40 for 3 years now, Dave, so I get it.
well, you're really experiencing it. But like you remember that, and it almost feels like
20-year-olds think that 30 is
that's like
old,
the end.
by the way.
Like 40 is the end, you know? But it's not. It's the halfway point. And so like it might feel great at 25 to be like, oh, I don't need a family, I don't need kids. Like, okay, but how are you going to feel at 55, 60, 65, 70,
Listen,
75 when other people have their kids and their families around them and you have like nothing? And you know, the tragic thing about it is that there's no going back at that point. Like you've kind of got to figure this out now. And so it's awful that we don't like, how do we not as a culture like promote to young people that the best thing you can do is get married and have a family?
I'll say that.
Can I
100%.
add-
I'll say
Can I add one
100%.
thing too, and then I'm gonna give you
the best thing for me was
Yeah.
getting married to my wife, Sheena. Best thing ever happened in my life was marrying my wife. I got married at 21, 22 years old, coming out the military. Had my son at 22 years old. Got divorced at 22 years old. Filed bankruptcy at 22 years old. PTSD at 22 years old. Babe, remember we were moving our boxes? I showed you my PTSD certificate. It went to the shred. I wish I kept it. But I'm going through all this stuff. And some of the worst dark moments in a man's life is knowing that your children just got ripped away from your house, that you have to be told by the courts when to see your kids, that the courts say you pick your kids up at the Walmart here, the parking lot, you meet here, and like you have supervised visitation, all this
Absolutely.
bullshit.
There you go.
And when you see your child support money going and it's not going to the child, so men will look at it that way. And that's the way I looked at it. So for me, I did a deep
Cut him off, I'm sorry. But, and then they give you this excuse, oh, I'm saving them money, so don't say I'm not using it for them. You're not using them. You're not using it for them. You're not. Stop the bullshit. Stop it.
Stop the cap.
Fucking unreal.
deep dive into my faith. When I looked at that Wall Street Journal, this is when I started going to Calvary Church in Orange County, Calvary Church. What's that mall there? In South Coast Plaza, right there, Calvary Church. Yeah, Raw Reese and Greg Laurie. He was out there. They had Bible studies on Mondays, and they're talking to me about the design of marriage. I'm like, well, I've never heard of this stuff before. And so I wasn't around the example of husband and wife together being raised by a kid. Now, granted, my father was around. He was there, but typical Filipino dad never said anything until he did something wrong, right? And then I learned how to just not talk to my father because I didn't want to be told I was doing it wrong. But
Look at that. He's Filipino. He's Filipino. He just said a typical Filipino dad. So that man right there is a Filipino. So he got married early. Same as me. I got married early too. I got married the first time at 23. It was a big mistake. I wouldn't go back and change it because I had my daughter. So you can't change that. Even if I wanted to, I wouldn't change that. Despite the fact that we don't talk anymore. I still do love my daughter. But that goes back to say, when you're a man, work hard in your 20s, and then you play in your 30s, or you start your family in your 30s. And as far as the girls, when they're in their early 20s, no more than 25, that's when they really need to be starting their family. And they should be looking for those guys who are well established, who worked hard in their 20s and now are in their 30s, looking for that man to establish a family, to have kids with, okay? And I guarantee you that would be a much better, successful family unit. See, if I would have known back in the day the things that I know now, my life, would have been different. But I don't sit here and bitch and moan about it because, honestly, there's no point in doing that. I made the mistakes that I made. I wasn't a good husband. I completely admit it. Why? Because I was young and stupid. So I got married twice in my 20s. So I was young and stupid. I should have never done that. Like I said, but I wouldn't change it, those mistakes, because of my kids. Because I do love my kids. And I pay out of my ass, back through my nose, through my left nut, and out my penis, in more ways than one. The amount of child support is ridiculous. It's, like I said, it's one of the reasons why I am in the positions that I'm in. Let's continue.
If you're looking at my 14 years after I got divorced, I said I'm just gonna do my thing. I focused on my business. 14 years.
There you go.
She's gonna come. She's gonna come. Now, as a man, I felt I could wait, build my business. I could wait, evolve, because I felt more confident as a husband if I was a provider and a protector. If I wasn't providing, if I wasn't protecting, I wouldn't feel good as a man. And then, baby, remember we decided to get married. So let's just go into our pastor's office and just do the swearing in there. Our mothers found out. They go, oh no, you're not gonna do that. Next thing you know, family comes in. We spent, how much was our budget for our wedding? $1,000. How much
What?
is your wedding dress? $100 for a wedding dress. Our
Save
wedding
that
gown-
money.
She accepted
our
it. And look at that. She accepted it. That right there tells you what kind of woman that is. She accepted that. She was happy with it. Even though it sounds like the family was against it. That's a jewel right there.
Save that money, baby. Our wedding downstairs, everybody's pumped up, excited. I mean, it was, to me, I was biased to it, but we just felt that was an awesome wedding.
That is so cool. Would you mind talking to my wife?
There you go.
Just maybe you guys hang out a little bit together.
And honestly, guys, if you do get married, if you find someone like that, I am all for the small wedding. I am all for the non-traditional kind of wedding, to do something outside in a park or someplace else, not to do in a church, because there's just so many expenses involved. Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to have this big dream wedding. And that's not what it's about. It's about a new beginning. It's about spending the rest of your life with the man and woman or woman that you want to be with. And that right there, there's no beating that.
The best thing she said, babe, you know what? I don't care about spending money on her wedding. I'd rather invest in her marriage.
Oh my God.
That's a wife
There
right
you go.
there, yo.
That's a wife.
go.
Sheena, you got
Wife
any
or
younger
a-
sisters? You got any like?
Right?
But hey, Pat.
She has a brother.
I think she has a brother. All right, I'll take what I can get.
You have a brother? I don't know
Throw a
his
wig
brother.
on that thing and trans these days. I don't care. I'm getting a prenup though, Sheena. But you said something very interesting.
Oh yeah. Always get a prenup, guys. Always get a prenup. I don't know how it works in the Philippines. I have to really look at that. But I feel confident in my own situation with my fiance. But even so, you always got to get a prenup. I don't know how it works in the Philippines. But yeah, you got to look. I got to look.
Dave, that you said the best environment to raise children is with a dual parent household, right? PBD, you did an
Absolutely.
entire episode about this, that the second best is actually with a single father. That the stats are actually quite comparable
Yes.
to a dual parent household to that of just a man raising a child, and then it just plummets if it's a single mom. What
Yeah.
was that? What was that?
Yeah, that's
study?
what it was. Like
Yeah.
the power of having a father figure in your life. It's a difference. Like if
There's
I'm
no
at the
moral
house.
authority, Pat. There's no
Yeah.
accountability when you're just raised with your mom. It's funny, me and my wife were just having this conversation yesterday.
Yeah, because you know what?
We were just talking about it, Pat. There's no accountability.
Hold on. You know what? Because I saw this myself with my ex-wife. The woman will be a pushover. She'll let the kids get away with whatever the fuck they want. You know, and there's no real discipline. She can yell, she can scream, she can break things, whatever. But when it comes down to it, the kid doesn't really care. I mean, oh, you're going to break my stuff. I didn't pay for it. I don't care. You'll just buy me a new one.
Because there's nobody keeping you in check. The mother just wants to nurture. Oh, you're okay. What happened to you? You got screamed.
Yep.
Let me help you. The dad's like, nah, you got to quit that bullshit real fast. You got to get your
But
ass
I
to
can
work.
see Angie, your mom, having an
Oh,
easy
yeah.
time raising you and Alejandro. You guys look like you guys are two sweet little
Alejandro.
There you
boys. You
go.
listened. You didn't break the rules.
Oh.
or any
Mom,
of
I'm
that
in jail
stuff.
again. Can you come get me? No,
That's exactly what happened.
hijo, no, not this time.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah, that's exactly what they're saying. Like the way, especially for sons, for them to be away from their fathers, and I feel this myself. It hurts a lot for me. I know it hurt a lot for my sons when they were younger, and it turns them bitter. It really does. I experienced it myself with my father. When my parents got divorced, my father moved to Italy to try to find work because he had to. But yeah, that was some of the hardest times of my life when I was a kid and my father left. I was with my mom. She tried to be tough. She really did. But I had a lot of mental issues because of it. And a lot of kids that have these issues, mental, emotional, I guarantee you a lot of them are single family households. Even if they get remarried, rather, that person who's replacing the father doesn't really replace the father because the mother is not going to let them have that kind of authority over the child. As I said before, single mothers, do not go with a single mother or someone who's already been divorced.
it's you have no accountability. You have nobody to answer to. And the natural order, I think a lot of people don't realize that the natural order of life is, as God, we answered the man. A man that doesn't answer or is not accountable to God has nothing to live for because he has nothing to base his life on. So the
There you
natural
go.
order is God, the head of the household, and the wife, and then the kids. And when you
Yep.
disrupt that natural order of life, you're done. There's no way you're going to have a healthy life if you continue to live that way. So to me, it's like, yeah, of course it makes sense that single fathers are raising better kids than single mothers. Not because moms suck at it, it's because the dad needs to be there to have an accountability over that child. The fact that I got in trouble
Exactly.
so much was because my dad was not there. My dad's not a deadbeat, he was around, but my dad, I just felt like I get away with more because dad was not there to tell me, hey, you can or you can't do this or whoop my ass like he did when I was around them all the time. It kept me in check. So yeah, it makes total sense. You know?
I would also just add this because I agree with everything you guys have been saying, and I think it's very true that one of the things that disincentivizes men from wanting to get married is kind of these artificial legal liabilities
Yep.
that are.
Matt,
that
you
are-
dealt with this.
Exactly.
Alimony,
So there's no
child
question
And I had
support.
cousins
that.
and kids.
But there's also there's other aspects to it as well, and I would because I'm obsessed with politics, so this is what I focus on. But there's also
those two
aspects
things
where
are jokes.
direct
It's
government
not.
policies have disincentivized families, and not just the fact that for years, like say the rise of the welfare
Yep.
state, for years they were straight up cutting you a check
Straight
if you
up.
had kids
Yes.
without a dad in the household.
LBJ, Right Society Act.
And this is just like, and this is just basic economics 101, that if you incentivize a behavior, you will get more of it than you otherwise would have. That's just the way things
Absolutely.
work. On top of that, the policies of sucking kids into this college trap and artificially
Oh.
bidding up the prices of
my
college,
daughter's
which
watching,
is
listen
all
to this.
loans backed by the government, guaranteed by the government. If some 18-year-old kid here who has some 18-year-old who has no income and no assets and no work history walked in and said, I want a loan for $200,000 to start a business, you will get laughed out of the bank. It would be like there is no chance that you could find a
Absolutely.
bank to
Great
give you that loan. But if you go in there and say, I want it for college, boom, rubber
Boom,
stamps,
there you
here you go. No problem sending you into debt. It's the most vicious type of debt. It's worse than credit card debt. They can garner your wages over it.
You can't
And
file
then-
bankruptcy to get rid of it.
Then at the same time, we've had
Yep, you can't.
policies such as artificially low interest rates, the Federal Reserve buying mortgage-backed securities on a regular basis that have bid up the price of housing. So you have these guys, it's like these 25-year-olds who come out of college. They kind of did what all the adults around them were telling them is the right thing to do. They're 150 grand in debt.
Listen.
The average price of a home is like $800,000, and the kid works at Starbucks. And
Yep.
he's like, well,
There
how
you
the
go.
hell am I ever going to get married and like provide for a wife and a family? And to be fair, this is part of the reason.
Because you wasted your college years, your early 20s, going to college and getting a degree in liberal fucking arts. What the fuck are you going to do with a liberal arts degree except wipe your ass in reality?
reason why so many of those kids start demanding socialism. And I kind of, as much as that's not the direction we want to go in, you kind of understand where the corruption in this system has failed so much that they're like, well, this is impossible. Like, how could I ever get out of it? And they've also probably been on, crazy psychiatric drugs.
I also think there's one other issue, especially among younger people, and that's hookup culture.
Yeah.
And I quite frankly have been a good benefactor of some of this hookup culture. But women now view themselves women now view themselves as, if the guys can do it, I can do it. And I think we can all agree there's a big difference between a guy sleeping with a bunch of women versus a woman sleeping with a bunch of men.
Yep.
And that is pervasive amongst women, and it's sort of ruining women's asset, right, in the marketplace. And it's
asset value. That's right.
Asset value with that
Sexual,
ASSET.
value.
All right, but men and women are not equal in that regard. You caught me on that one.
It makes sense why he's single, by the way.
Yeah,
Totally makes
absolutely
sense.
right, guys.
But I'm a man with options. That's the difference, y'all.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. You go through your hoe phase in your 20s. By the time you're 30, you're hitting the wall. Your face is all messed up because you always putting up so much makeup. Your pussy's the size of a fucking black hole. Good luck trying to find a good guy. And then you ask, where's the good guys? Where did all they go? I could tell you where they went. Hold on a second. I'm going to tell you right now. Let me see. Do I have that here?
This is the way.
So there you go. This is the way. All right, guys. Looks like they're pretty much done with this video. Valuetainment. Give them a follow. Sub to their YouTube. Look them up on Rumble if you can. Guys, a lot of great information. Ladies, a lot of great information for you too. It's not meant to put you down. It's not meant to have you looked down upon, despite what so many women will tell you. This is reality, guys. If you look at how modern day society is going, the Sam Smiths, everybody waving that rainbow flag, making little children wave that flag. I honestly see it, and I see how the family unit's being broken down, how men are being broken down, because men are the ones who defend our country, defend our society against those who want to have control. And how do you destroy that? You take away the men's desire to fight back. You destroy them mentally, emotionally. You don't destroy them physically, because they will fight back. You destroy them emotionally, mentally. You basically already won the war. It's just a matter of time.
Are there any signs you get of the desire to one day get married? Yes or no? Any signs? Like, give me this much of a sign. Yes or no?
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.
All right, there we go. Valuetainment, guys. Check them out. All right, guys. So all I can say with that is thank you so much, guys, for watching tonight. I will be back again for another video. Pre-recorded until we can get our internet back up. Takes over an hour just to upload these videos because of the connection I have. So actually doing an actual stream is almost impossible to get it out there. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you next time.